Every industry faces regulation: labor laws, consumer protection, environmental. We must proactively address society's concerns about agricultural practices. In Farm Bureau, that means developing policies with the public in mind. It means striving to create support and information about new innovative agricultural practices like biotech, water protection, and other hot-button topics. We do this to stop our opponents from telling our story first. And you talked about communication, Hunter, and that's one thing in communicating not just to our legislators and looking at the public as a large group, but in finding what's important to other outside groups. In Virginia, and specifically our Northern Virginia area, there was an environmental council, and they were very active and they had a lot of support. And it was something that really clashed with the ag community a lot of the time. But when we actually sat down with them and said, well, what's really important to you? And they said, well, we want to preserve, open space. And we said, well, what's a farm? That is open space preserved for agriculture. And you kind of saw them sit there and go, huh. And you know what? That group now sponsors our Buy Fresh, Buy Local guide. They have a model farm. They have a young farmer development program. That group has turned 180 due to the influence from Farm Bureau to be probably one of our most sort of, combative forces in local politics to one of, our greatest allies. Now, we're not going to see eye to eye on everything. We need to understand that. But it's important that we use our policies to look at other groups and say, what's a policy where we really have that common core? Well, Farm Bureau wants to preserve farmland. Without farmland, we're done. And that's the same thing they're looking for. So building that coalition with an outside group. We are Farm Bureau leaders. We are the solution to this question. When we talk about developing policies that can affect burdensome federal regulations, we need to drive to be Farm Bureau leaders. And that means making policies both at our local levels and our committees, at our state levels, and here at American Farm Bureau with the public in mind. It means always looking to build coalitions and build broad-based support with outside groups that we know can support our efforts. We may have to fundraise to do that. It may mean thinking of things, selling things, raising funds in order to build that support that we may not have thought of before. And finally, it means having those funds to have that legal backstop. When all else fails, we want to be able to fight these things in court. But it all starts with convincing the public at large that we are Farm Bureau leaders, we have their best interests in mind, and we can address policy that benefits all of us in society.